First, a quick review of the planet and its location for our new site. This is showing up, so now it's time to click on this and take a look at what they're offering and see if by chance we can afford it. The patent, well, it's kind of early in the game to be doing patents, because what we could use is a driller bot. That way we don't need quite so many workers to work inside the mine. This is too early. That'll become a big deal later. But this would be nice to have, even though we have one constructor bot and one of these guys. Nope, not that guy. The carrier bots already provided by the game. Now you can take your time with the trade thing, because as you can, well, you might notice that the game is on pause. See, nobody's moving. Even the wind, well, there is no wind, so that's not a good indicator. But if there was some wind, that should be spinning. Well, it's not. While you've got this on, the game is on pause. But just for grins and giggles, can we pull that off? Oh, no, I cannot afford, even though those are declared spares right now. They really aren't. Now, usually this number and this number here do not match. These are considered excess to our current needs, and these are considered critical and not available for trading. They're inside a machine or something, or they're being, they're already committed to be used. Right now, we don't even have a sick bay, but it would not be smart for us to get rid of these, even though we can trade most of them off. And we almost have enough. So I'll left click here, bring most of these back. And these are your spare parts. It's very risky to trade any of those off, because if you don't have any and a windstorm or something comes through and starts breaking your utilities, usually it'll be the fan or the solar panel, you're not going to be able to repair them, and that's going to cripple your operation. Food, it's really too early to give out food, and notice it only has a value of 5 anyway when it goes to trading. So if you did decide to take the risk, you wouldn't want to go below the number of 2. Now, early in the game, these numbers you see here and these numbers up here are probably going to match. But we do have one discrepancy. If we take all these back, notice it says 10. See, everything matches because we don't have anything in storage yet, so there's no way for these numbers not to match. They are offering you to trade off everything, but that would be suicide. You want to end your game quick? Well, there you go. So we'll just say dismiss. We'll figure, well, this percentage for commission does go down to 35, but then it's 45, and then it's 55, 60, and 65. And of course, I try not to do anything at 60 or 65. 50, 55, well, it depends on how desperate I am at the moment, and if I can really afford to do it. So we'll just left click here. Just about everything is a left click, and we'll just dismiss it. So the game will pick up, it'll take off, even though that would have been nice to have. We just can't afford it. We don't really have a lot to work with. And if we click here on our mill maker, the mills that are in there, even though we've got some laying out here, see, they're complete mills. And pasta, I don't know why, but pasta is a really big deal in this game. I guess they figured they had to make their choice. Now, if I go ahead and hit the question mark right here, you get all this stuff to look at and read and make decisions about. It also puts the game in pause. See there? They're no longer moving. So you can take your time with this too. So what we want to do is we've already talked about milestones a little bit. Let's look over here at resources. Now it shows the symbol that you would normally see on one of your structures. See your base management, your disasters. Every time they show a little disaster message over here in the lower left, you'll see this symbol. Colony ship, technicals, or what they call techs for short, structures. Well, all these symbols are used in the game, and that's going to give you an idea what they're for. Bots. But anyway, let's go into resources. Then let's go over here to meal maker, viral meat, spares, medical. See, starch, vegetables, meal. There we go. Let's click on that one. It talks about the meal maker, which is over here. There's a symbol for it. Now notice recipes. This gives you a pretty good idea what you need in order to keep the meal maker machine happy. You need wheat and mushrooms. Right now we have rice, but you only see rice twice. And rice doesn't really do you much good, even though they call it pasta, until you have some meat available. Or you have mushrooms. We've already put in tomatoes, but for some reason, rice is the first starch they want you to make. They don't say anything about mushrooms in the tutorial. So you kind of look, the thing that we're missing is wheat in order to satisfy the wheat tomato mixed pasta. But notice that later on, mushrooms becomes a big deal. Now, if we have meat and any wheat or any corn, they can make burgers. But notice what's missing. Well, it won't be obvious to you right now until you have some experience with the game. But also notice up here, different vegetables just need 3, and you got salad. Now, they're going to consider mushrooms to be one of the vegetables, even though most of us wouldn't. But you do put mushrooms on salads, unless you don't like mushrooms. But this information is pretty critical to you at the beginning of the game, because there's no chance with only 2 biologists to work with that you can have all of the options installed in your not very big, medium I believe is the correct size, biodome. Oh, this is a large one. So that means we can have 3 in each of these quarter sections. I do believe that's what the case is. All right, so what do we have right now? We've got the rice, like the tutorial recommended. We've got the onion, like the tutorial recommends. And we've got the tomato. But since I've played the game quite a bit, I also put in wheat, because wheat and tomato makes pasta. Now notice wheat is a starch, but it only provides 1 and it makes 2 vegetables. So that helps out. Well, all of your starchy plants does that. Onion, see, it's all about vegetables. Now later on, when we can make the GM onions and tomatoes, they'll give us 4 instead of 3 per harvest. And if we look here, same thing. Rice pad, 2 vegetables, 1 starch. So if you want to keep your bioplastic caught up with your needs, which is for this machine here, it takes the starch, it takes a worker, and they can make a bioplastic. Right now, they've got 2 starch in there, and you sometimes will see a 3rd one. Usually, but not always, until a 3rd one gets in there, you won't see this little device rocking back and forth. It was for a little while, and then it stopped. And the reason it stopped is we don't have really enough workers to get by. If you look here, you can see that we've only got 3 workers, and we've already installed 2 machines, plus we've got the mine, and right now nobody's in there. The only things that can work the mine are the workers and drill bots, but we don't have a drill bot. You can see that by going back here and looking at your bot line. You've got a constructor and you've got a carrier bot, and both of them are probably starting to need repair pretty soon. Maybe that's why they decided to give us another engineer, but we've got a situation coming up. Stuff out here slowly decaying in the atmosphere, and we have, I think that's a carrier bot. Yeah, that's trying to break. And when that turns red, he's going to be broken. And he's not going to move or do anything until an engineer, which might be this guy, goes over there and repairs him. Now, the other thing you want to make note of is how many people do you need to feed and provide sleeping quarters for? Right there, the total number. This is your visitors when they come in later, if you decide to do that, so that you can raise more coins a little faster. So, do we have sleeping quarters for 8? Yeah, we do. 2, 4, 6, 8. That's the reason why I went ahead and took those others out. Normally you don't need more than 4 bunks to get by. Now, can we feed all 8 of them? Well, so far so good. We've got 15 meals available, but most of them are out here in the weather. All right, now here's our next situation. They're giving us 2 more colonists. See the little patches that got a color to them? And that'll give you a clue later what you just got in. Now, I don't have anything to trade per se, and I don't want any more colonists, so I'm just going to take the power off. Don't use this one because it'll recycle it and give you back the metal. But they will never give you back what is used to make these tunnels or power utility connections. So just use this one here. It disables by turning off the power. So now we won't get any more people in, or traders. No colonist ships for the pad. You can't get normally visitor pads off of this until you have the bigger one installed. But look how much metal it takes. So it's going to be a while. Also, before we try to do that, we've got to try to put in this control center. I call it a guard shack sometimes, but you got a couple of sizes available, small and medium. And as I've already said, I don't like to make the small ones, even at the beginning of the game, even though I mess up sometimes and forget to rotate the wheel on my mouse for the bigger size. So no one's unhappy. We've got 2. Oh, he's about ready to break. And this one, he's got a little bit more to go before he breaks. He helps the engineer repair and construct stuff. Now, the other thing I should mention to you, see how they go out here and they pick up stuff? Well, he's going to stick it inside that machine. And the machine will eventually, you'll see this go along, there it goes, green line go across, and it'll turn one of these into a meal. Let's go ahead and just watch it, since this is kind of like a tutorial for new players. See how that works? Now we're down to 2 vegetables that need to be turned into meals. And they'll bring some in and they'll eat. So if you forget to put this in fairly soon, and the tutorial recommends that you wait to put one of these meal makers in, they'll come out here and they'll grab these, they'll set at the table and they'll eat them until they've all gone. But it'll satisfy their hunger. Right now, I recommend go ahead and putting this in so that you keep this number of meals available as high as possible, since we've got vegetables available. Now, do we have extra starch? Yeah, we do. So we could put in another one. And since we've got vegetables laying all over the place, I'm going to recommend you do that. So left click, make sure you select this one, left click, and I'm going to put in another mill maker. Well, it's not going to kind of boxed him in, didn't I? Well, I'm going to left click to turn off the highlight of the dome. I could also just use the escape key and see what they're doing. We had what we needed. They just went in and took it out of here when we took down one of the bunk beds. Now you'll notice this number is going to start creeping up. And if we click on it, the first thing they're going to put in there is the vegetables. For some reason, they give priority to taking them out of here and putting them in the machine. And eventually they'll go out here and pick these up. But what we hope to do, let's see, did we get in more workers? Yes, we did. We definitely got in some more workers. And we also got in a biologist. So that means we could have more production going on in the biodome. So we could put in 2 more plants if we have the bioplastic. And we do. We got another worker, so we have a choice. We could put in another machine, but that would only leave 1 to go inside here. And 3 is the most you'll ever see workers and drill bots. So it's really better to go ahead and put them in there. Now let's zoom down. You see there, the broken bone symbol? That's your next bad situation. And since we've got basically a dead end here, let's look at fixing that guy. Because now we're down. And the best way to do that is with a sick bay. So we got to squeeze it in. And I don't think we're going to put another mine over here. We might try to put one over here, but this is probably going to interfere. So let's put this right there. That makes sense to me. The workers get injured, they get repaired. So now we need supplies. We need 1 and 1. I made the smaller one because that'll get us by for now. And all we really need right now is a couple of beds, which will come out of here, and a storage cabinet to get the medical supplies out of the weather, because they're slowly but surely decaying. Right now their condition is excellent, but they gave us some high durability containers to start with. Later on, you may or may not see that symbol. So they'll go out and they'll start collecting what's available. They'll get this put in. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the plus key that's over here on my numbers pad, because the other plus key doesn't work too well. That's up there with across the top of your keyboard. And what that does is change the game speed. So you'll see everybody walking a little faster, getting things done a little quicker. Now notice what they've got here. They've got 1 bioplastic and 1 metal. And if I ever take this structure down, I will not get those assets back. All right, so we need 1 cabinet. That's as close as the door I can get it. And we need 1 bed. That's as close to the door or the opening as I can get. Technically, there are no doors on this game, so. Now, once that bed gets done, that injured miner or worker will come set in this bed, and we've got, I think it's just the 1, yeah. We've got 1 medic, and they'll come over, and they'll use one of the medical supplies to fix that dude. Huh, he's sleepy, but he's still working. I can't catch him. And notice that the carrier bot is the one that keeps everybody else happy, because they don't have to move the supplies. But at some point, somebody who's not busy and does not have a higher priority of any kind going on, like a landing, that's why I turned this off, so they can focus on getting this stuff out of the weather. But the only way I can improve the situation as far as the weather goes is I need to have storage. Now, I could go small, won't last very long, Or I could go 2 more sizes up. Let me demonstrate that. See, there's size 1, size 2, size 3. Now, if you can afford it, you want to go to size 3 right off, but in fact, we cannot even do a size 2. We don't have any choice. We got to do a size 1. Now, notice it won't let me connect off of the lab, and the reason being is it's got that little T symbol. Also notice that all structures use power, and this is how you can kind of have a clue of how you're doing out here. Now that the sun is out, but notice how we're using power. See, it's not going all the way up. We don't have any excess power generation. If you click here, sun's up, so you're getting a full 30. The wind has to be fully up, and it's not. It's got to be blowing a pretty good strong gale in order for it to get another 30 out of here. But right now we're getting by. But this is having a hard time filling up because we keep adding structures and they keep using more and more energy or kilowatts. If I add, every time I add in one of these, whoops, didn't click on the, there it is. That adds 0.5. Now, if I click on it right now, it says I'm using 1. See there? But if you watch this, normally it only goes up 0.5. If there's nothing in here, we'll have to experiment with that. Same thing over here. Right now it says we're using 3.5. See, there's a 0.5. There's a 0.5. No energy being used here. Only thing being used here is the water. Now, if we look over here at the biodome, we've got 4.5, and we're using 1 unit of water so far. And these, each of these, see there, they use electric and they use water. The electric, I guess, is grow lights, even though they don't really show the grow lights. Can't imagine these little elevations using electric, but in this game, maybe it is, because you don't really see anything that looks like a grow light. All right, so, well, maybe it's hydroponic. Pumping water down there for the roots, even though they don't show the plumbing and stuff. Okay, have I explained things enough? Remember what the T stands for? It's a dead end. You cannot collect any other domes to it, but you can connect a power connection. So if you have something like this, see there? You can link it in. Now that's going to cost us 1 metal to do that. But we no longer have a series connection. So if a meteorite destroyed this connection, it would deny all of our utilities from us. Now, so far the game hasn't been quite that mean and nasty to the games I've played. But I'll go ahead and put this in anyway. And once I do, now the game might be tempted, once this is installed, to knock out either this one or this one, but not both at the same time. Because as long as we have one connection still getting back to our domes, we'll be safe. All of our domes will have power. The only way we could mess up now is, see, because we need power, we need water, and it says it provides enough oxygen for 30 people. But let me warn you, that number 30 is ideal. And normally you don't have an ideal construction configuration. So figure it's 28, 26, somewhere right in there. So if you're counting your people by going here and looking at this number, you're going to need another oxygen generator before this number turns into 30, 9 times out of 10. Now remember what I said about your biologists versus how many workers, these two are normally your highest numbers, and you want this one to be higher than that one whenever possible. Now, let's get back to this. We've got 3 biologists, so that means we could have 6 of these grow, what do they call them, pads. They call them pads. All right, so what are we lacking? Well, we're not doing too good here on the starch. So this number is not going to stay as high as we might want it to, so that we can install more parts and pieces, maybe more bunks. Usually when you install something here, it takes metal. So bioplastic is really not that important to us for there. But for here and here or here, bioplastic is very important. So let's focus on this first row. All right, we've got this one in, we've got this one in. We don't have corn yet, and corn was a big deal for making food once we get the meat in. So let's go ahead and put the corn in now. And later on, this is going to be important to us so that we can make more medical supplies. But we need a lab, which we don't have yet. So let's put that in. And let's see, that's pretty much it, because we only got in 1 more biologist. So it would not be a good idea to go higher than 2 more pads for vegetables or starch. Well, maybe I should show you that again. This is your starch line. This is your vegetable line. This is your medical supply. This is for morale, fixing morale problems you might have, along with putting plants in here. And this is where you get your genetically modified tomatoes or onions. That way they'll produce 4 vegetables rather than just 3. That becomes critical much later. Now, if you want to put a risk, I would recommend mushrooms, because you saw mushrooms as a part of the recipes. But notice what happens. First it takes, well, right now we've only got 1 left. So that's where it'll get used. And then we won't have any. Remember, that's vegetables, so the only thing it's going to provide is more vegetables. See there? Now, since we don't have another biologist, every once in a while we'll see what I call a monkey wrench, suggesting to you that you don't have enough biologists to keep up with demand. Now, this mushroom pad we just put in. It does provide 3 more vegetables. And it was in the line for making recipes. The other thing is it's slow and it's low maintenance. So that's probably the best you could do without creating your problem with how many biologists you have. All right. Oh dear, they're still draining. We need to get these out of the weather. So what are we going to do? Well, the only thing we can do is provide storage, and it'll restore the health of those packages. But, 4. Yeah, that's maybe pushing our luck too much. And I know in the future I'm going to be rebuilding all this anyway. Now, it'd be ideal if we could connect off of here, since they won't let us connect off there, because when we do business with traders, they would be going into the storage to provide stuff for the trader transactions we make. But because there's stuff here, we can't make a connection there. So we'll have to come over, try to keep it short. I guess that's the best we could do. In the next episode, 30 minutes long normally, we'll pick up where we left off. Hopefully I've given you plenty of good tutorial information that you're going to need or want if you're especially new to the game. And we're hoping that this details that we're providing will keep you from having a failed colony. Until next time.